welcome back for another video. So today we're going to be looking at a girl's channel called Chrissy, and that's literally just what it's called. It's about a woman who is apparently dark-skinned and who has a lot to say about a lot of different colorism issues. And today's video was talking about light skin privilege and how a lot of light-skinned biracial people tend to negate or deny their light skin privilege. And I just wanted to hear what she had to say to see if I can either verify or contest these statements. So let's go ahead and get into this, shall we?
We're going to have to form some kind of real solidarity as dark-skinned Black people and stop including people who really, in all actuality, don't care about us. They don't care about our well-being, and they don't really want to see us in an equal position. They really don't. Because I just feel like biracial people in particular, they're just so inconsistent and contradictory with their arguments. It's like they'll say, well, don't blame us for colorism, blame white supremacy. But then when it comes to a dark-skinned woman, quote unquote, hating on you, all of a sudden, it's not about white supremacy. She needs to fix whatever is going on inside of herself. She needs to fix her self-esteem. It doesn't have shit to do with the system of white supremacy when it comes to her internalizing her self-hate, what she was taught to believe about herself by the system of white supremacy. And then one minute it's, well, we experience racism too. We're not white. We don't feel like we belong to either side because, we're treated like shit from both sides. And then the next minute it's, oh, well, hashtag Mixed Girl Mondays on fucking Twitter and YouTube.
Okay, I'm going to just stop it really super quick. I have a short story that I want to share with you real quick. I actually was subscribed to a fellow biracial person. His name on the particular channel that I was subscribed to was Bluish Gelato. And basically I was invited onto the show and was able to talk to other biracial women. Well, unfortunately, I don't have any of the receipts for this, but the conversation took a very, very bad left. Okay. The light-skinned people were literally like having arguments about who was more light skin or more, I guess you could say, white passing, like meaning like your hair is more like Negro than mine, or your nose, or you're darker than me. Like they were literally having conversation like this, and I was just like, oh my God, these people are colorist as freak, even in the biracial community. And here I was thinking like we were going to have some type of camaraderie and we were just going to feel this was going to be a safe space for people like us, because sometimes we go into some Black spaces, and although I have had very much acceptance for Black people, there are some Black people that don't like light-skinned or biracial people because they feel as though they have a certain level of privilege over them. And it may well be true. I'm not going to sit here and deny that I've not been in situations where guys have been like, oh my God, you're so beautiful because you're light-skinned, or your hair, or this or that, you know what I mean? And I kind of wince at those comments and try to just thanks and kind of keep it pushing, but it's true. And to me, I've never looked at people like that. Like, I've never thought that someone was more attractive just because their skin was fair. Like, that's kind of weird. Like, it's usually more about like how your facial structure is, how your teeth are, whether or not your hair is just combed and kept looking, you know what I mean? That's more so what I deem as attractive, but that's just me. There are people that fall into that category where it's like, oh, the lighter you are, the better, and stuff like that. I'm not denying that. But to be in a biracial place and then having biracial people argue and say like, you're ugly, you're not even biracial looking, you're not exotic and stuff like that. And it just was like, wow, these biracial people are so full of white supremacy at this point that I have to exit. And I never went back because I didn't like what I was hearing, because I don't agree with that kind of stuff. And I did not want to be affiliated with that, because I'm one of those people that, again, feels like you're just beautiful based on your facial symmetry, or like your body, or like how well kept and how cleanly and hygienic you are. You know what I'm saying? Because you can be as Black as my shoe, but you can be handsome as freak or beautiful as freak, depending upon how your structuring of your face is. And I've seen, lighter people or white people who I thought were very unattractive. So it's like, it has nothing to do with how white looking you are. You know what I mean? So anyway, guys, you do have to forgive me. I am literally about to be 18 weeks pregnant. So if I sound like I'm out of breath and I'm literally just sitting here, just understand that just because my stomach is now like literally right here. So I am I'm struggling. Okay. My body is changing, and yeah, but anyway, It's not all biracial people. I've met some biracial people on YouTube and online that I've had conversations with that were very nice and went very well. But for the most part, like I said, I kind of stay away from that because I don't want to be involved in situations where you have those light-skinned people who kind of tote their light-skinnedness or their biracial, ambiguousness or whatever. I'm making up words, but you know what I mean. Like, those people that think that literally they're better because they're biracial or something. It's kind of weird, but it is true. It does happen. But anyways, let's let her finish.
Hashtag good hair. We all know the difference between showing pride and representing your culture and pointing it out as an advantage, right? Going out of your way to prove that you are different and quote unquote unique, because that only means that black people compared to you are just plain and ordinary and uninteresting. It's nothing special about them, right? Just as most beautiful women use their looks to their advantage, and this is women of every race and every complexion, but just like those beautiful women use their looks to their advantage, most biracials and multiracials do that as well. That fact that you are easier on the eyes to them, and that itself can lead to all kinds of advancements over black people and dark-skinned people, and it has. Under the post, I saw a lot of mixed people commenting, like, well, what privilege? We don't have privilege. I've been called a nigga just like you've been called a nigga, and they like to, like I said, pull the one drop rule card. When white people look at us, they see a black person, they don't see a mixed person. And I'm like, okay, but they see you as the best of black people because you are an extension of them. You are part of them. But I do know that black women are being replaced by biracial women in the media. And note, like I said, I'm speaking specifically of biracial people or multiracial people who are mixed with black, who are noticeably mixed with, black and another race and are more or less racially ambiguous looking. These are the ones that are elevated in the black community. The colorism shit really hits home when you pop out a dark-skinned baby, especially if she's a girl. If you haven't seen colorism in a negative way, you will see it then. When you're someone who's only been around mixed people or light-skinned people, and you yourself are also mixed and light-skinned, I could see how your privilege could go unnoticed. I remember when I was watching the colorism special on OWN that Oprah and Iyanla did, this black girl got up and started talking about like her light-skinned privilege, and I was just like, but you're not even light-skinned. And
I've seen that too. I've seen black people who were not necessarily dark skinned, and maybe just fairer on the brown skin spectrum, but they thought they were light skinned just because they may have been in a family where they were amongst really, really dark people. And so they were considered the light skinned ones, but then in like the real world, they're not, you know what I'm saying? And like they have this haughtiness or an attitude where it's like hashtag light skin and stuff like that. Like if you have to say it, then I don't know. Or like if your channel name is something about being light skinned, like come on, that's too much. I mean, it is. Like if you have to say it, that's pretty much ringing true everything she's saying, because now you're feeling like it's some level of superiority that it needs to be mentioned. You know what I'm saying? And for darker skinned people, they mention it oftentimes because they're either made fun of for it and they want to have some level of pride in the thing that they're kind of looked down upon for. You don't need to mention that you're mixed. If you already look mixed, or if you already are and everyone knows it, like you don't need to keep bringing it up. It's just one of those things where you're adding fuel, you're gaslighting at that point. You know what I mean? And it's pissing people off. And you may not be trying to, you may just be trying to build your own level of self-esteem, but at the same time, do you really need to? It's like fishing for compliments, you know what I mean? You already get a bunch of compliments. Like, why do you need more? And again, there's a difference between having pride in who you are. Like I've seen people who were dark skinned, hashtag dark skin and hashtag, black girls and black girl magic and stuff like that. That's, to me, is understandable because of how black people have been treated. Like, I don't know. This conversation is really hard to have as a light-skinned biracial person, because on the one hand, I don't want to offend biracial people because it's true. There are situations where you are not accepted by white people and they treat you how they treat you. And you have situations where there are black people who treat you how they treat you. But for the most part, if you are a lighter skinned black person, your situations are easier. You are more represented in media and in TV and in movies. You are considered, especially in the female world, as more attractive. And men will sit there and say, like, I don't want a dark skinned woman. I don't want to have a black kid. You'll even have dark skinned women say stuff like that. I don't personally get it. I mean, I guess because maybe being light skinned and having a light skinned daughter, like maybe I've taken it for granted. All I've ever wanted was healthy children. I never was like, yeah, I have to have a light skinned baby with colored eyes and stuff like that. And the fact that my child did come out with light brown eyes and she's light skinned is just a perk for her. You know what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with me. I just wanted a smart, healthy, mentally stable. That's all I wanted. I wanted 10 fingers, 10 toes, a sound mind. That's all I ever wanted. And that's all I want for the child I'm carrying. It doesn't matter how they look. I don't care what grade of hair they have. I will work with it. I'll figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Even though I got this kind of hair that's like, you wet it and I'm good to go, but for them, it's a little different. My daughter's hair is a lot, it's different, so I'm still working on it and still trying to figure out how to do her hair. But thankfully there are people around me who help me keep her looking good. So, I'm straight. As a woman, we don't really control what men are attracted to. They're going to always like what they like. But as a light-skinned person, as a light-skinned woman, what you can do is not tote or be braggadocious about anything. You don't need to flaunt. You just need to kind of just be the pretty wallflower and just keep it moving. If anything, we need to build each other up. And I don't think there needs to be separate sectors for light skin and dark skin. To me, there doesn't need to be anything like that, because all black people are beautiful and all black people should be coming together and being there for each other. Hell, all humans should be. It's not just about black. White people can be invited to my channel, Mexican people, Asian people, I don't care what you are, Indian. Like, if you find what I have to say interesting, I'm grateful for it at the end of the day. I don't care who you are, what you look like, nothing like that. Anyone can enjoy my channel. Anyone can enjoy the things that I talk about. And that's why I try to expand, and not just talk about one thing. I'm not just here talking about colorism. I'm not just here talking about man issues or woman issues. I'm talking about everything, and even a close look at my life in some cases. So I just want to be inclusive and have an interesting channel that appeals to everyone.
I was just so happy because Iyanla called it out and she pointed it out. She was like, are you light-skinned, girl? Because I don't think you are. And they had already discussed, the age-old paper bag test. So she kind of ran up to her with the paper bag and she put it against her face. And, basically she was like, bitch, you tried it. You ain't light-skinned. Sit down. So some of these women are very delusional and they like the idea of light-skin privilege. And because they may be a lighter shade of brown than their entire family, they kind of throw themselves in there with the light skin. And, I can imagine that they would probably feel that way if they have a family full of darker skinned people. So maybe that's why they do it. So, you kind of have to look out for those ones who are just trying to, get some kind of shine or feel good about something that they're really just not. And see, black women, we like to do that shit. But yeah, just as much as dark-skinned girls unjustifiably pull out the colorism card, mixed and light-skinned women and lighter-skinned women, they pull out the light-skinned card sometimes when it shouldn't even be there. The really color-struck light-skinned people are the most unattractive of the group. Have you guys noticed that? It's like the ugly ones and the mediocre ones always have something to say about how light-skinned people look better. And I'm just like, well, bitch, you're not cute. You're average as hell. Just like this one girl that commented under that post that I was talking about earlier. She was like, well, mixed babies do look better and we do look better. And you click on her picture and it's like, bitch, you don't have no hair. It's all broke off. You're just regular looking, Just like the dark-skinned girls who are most bitter about colorism are usually, the very unattractive ones. The ones who...
Now, that I can agree with, because I'm not gonna lie, I work in customer service, and actually there was a scenario today where there was a woman and she was what I would consider dark skin, and she didn't have very long hair. Her hair was like in these cornrows and they weren't neat or anything. They were kind of messy actually, and she looked like she kind of just like rolled out of bed. Like, I think she even had pajama pants on. But basically, like, when she came in, she was like kind of slamming stuff around and I work at a facility that deals with boxes and mailing and packaging and stuff like that. So it's like she was mailing something out, and it was like she was slamming around a lot of stuff, and she left like all her trash everywhere, and she just had an attitude. And thankfully I didn't have to actually be the person to deal with her. It was someone else. It was actually two of the other clerks that I work with that had to deal with her. It was one black woman, and of course the black woman, that I work with, she's like super super nice, and like nobody should ever have a problem with her because she's like so extra sweet. I swear to God, like nobody ever has a problem with her. But for some reason she was like even rude to her. Like she was like, "Hi, how can I help you today?" And she's all like, "I need to mail this out," and just started like throwing stuff on the table. And she was like, "Well, we actually don't package things for you. You'll have to, search through the packing supplies and see what best suits you and your things. And once you have it all sealed up and ready and addressed, you can come back up to my counter and I can help you." Well, she was pissed about that. So she goes over, like I said, and she's like moving all her stuff around, leaving garbage everywhere. And then the gentleman that I work with, he ended up being the second person that dealt with her, and she was even rude to him. And he's like unattractive, tall, light-skinned man. So you would think that, maybe she would have at least been cool with him, seeing as how he's a handsome guy. I mean, maybe she was jealous of my coworker female, but she was even kind of rude to him. So I'm thinking like overall her demeanor was like kind of like that typical angry black woman thing going on. And it was like no one was able to get her to calm down. And she, like I said, even with him, she was like rude. He was like, "Please, ma'am, I can help you," and stuff like that. And she's like, she just ignored him, like all the questions that he had for her. She like acted like she didn't even hear him. She was like doing something on her phone. And then he was like, "Well, if I can't help you with anything else, can I get you just a paper receipt? Because we have options to get like email or whatever." And she was like, "Just a paper one." And then she like practically snatched it out of his hand and like stormed out of there. And I just was thinking to myself, like, that was so extra and it was so unnecessary, because it's not like we did anything to her for her to be that pissed off. So she just came in with a bad aura about her. But I just kind of like was looking at her and I was thinking like, well, maybe she has that, aura about her because maybe she was really having a bad day. Maybe something happened, who knows? But then also it could be her way, her defense mechanism for the world, because again, she was kind of an unattractive woman, kind of walking around with like what you would consider a guy's hairstyle to be. And just, there was nothing physically appealing about her. So, she probably gets a lot of mistreatment, I would imagine, in life. It's not like she was a gorgeous woman, with hair running down her back with this great curvy body. You know what I mean? Women like that are typically either kind of stuck up, or they're all like extra happy and giddy and stuff because everyone's nice to them. But in her case, she just wasn't. So I just was like, maybe, she's had a rough life or something. Who knows? But at the end of the day, we should try our best not to fit stereotypes. Like, if the stereotype for light-skinned women is to be a stuck-up bitch, try not to be a stuck-up bitch. And if you're like a dark-skinned woman, try not to be the angry, pissed off version that you see everywhere, that's so unhappy and miserable looking. You know what I'm saying? Like, try to defy all the stereotypes that are out there. Like, that's what I try to do anyway. I try to be nice and friendly to everybody. But again, that's just me.
Who are just pissed and emotional and irrational when they talk about colorism and dark skin, and they're usually the less attractive ones. And another thing I want to go into is being accused of hating, right? Being a hater. And listen, like I said, if I see a beautiful mixed woman or a light skinned woman, I call her beautiful with no hesitation, okay? You want to get up under these posts and these articles and these videos and talk about how we're all the same and, everybody's mixed and we're all equal. But you don't want to talk about how it's not really equal. And you want to have your cake and eat it too. You're mixed when it's beneficial and you're black when it's beneficial. You go back and forth from black and mixed, black and back and forth. I cannot stop you from identifying with black if that's what you choose to identify as, but you cannot force me to see you as black either. That doesn't mean we can't be friends. That doesn't mean you ain't my homie, but you're not a black person to me. Most biracial people and light-skinned people are colorists. So if you are not, go talk to your people. But most of them are aware of their privilege. Most of them use it to their advantage.
I hate to keep stopping it, but what she just said there, most biracial and light skinned people are colorists. I have to somewhat agree with that. I do, because the one time, like I said, I tried to affiliate myself with a channel that was like geared towards biracial people and stuff. I saw that junk firsthand within the first 15 minutes and never went back. So, yeah.
And most are not willing to give up their privilege or equalize themselves to Black people. But y'all kill me acting like none of you guys are stuck up. You know, I want Black women to change. So I come on these videos hollering at Black women. I'm talking to Black women. I don't go on the Mixed Girls page on Facebook and beg them to include us. I encourage Black women to make their own shit and embrace what is out there for them and flaunt their Blackness and be okay with having a group. I know that they experience colorism, bullying, discrimination, you know, from every direction, just on the basis of, you know, them being biracial and being a part of two or more cultures. You know, I'm not taking away from that experience. As a Black person, a Black woman, a dark-skinned woman, I know that collectively it's worse for Black people and it's worse for us. And I'm speaking from the Black experience just as they speak from the mixed race experience. But overall, like I always say, dark-skinned women get the brunt of colorism. And let me know what you think about it in the comment section.
Well, I guess I can't disagree with that. And I've seen it firsthand, dealt with it online, seen it in other people's channels and videos. So I cannot disagree with anything that was said in this video. And I can appreciate it. You know, it may not be what, you know, a light skin or like a biracial person wants to hear. But sometimes the truth isn't what you want to hear. Sometimes it's not going to tickle your eardrum or make you feel good. But it can be eye-opening and help you understand how to be a better person at the end of the day. How other people perceive you can help you in the way that you deal with others. And so I personally take this as, okay, I'm going to make sure that I don't, you know, come off conceited or like stuck up, and I make sure I speak and say hello to everyone and treat everyone with kindness in every way that I can, because I don't want to be the typical light-skinned bitch. I just don't. So you guys definitely leave me a comment, tell me what you think. I know this is a long one, but we had to get through this, honey. So definitely don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.